I represent the Fifth Dynasty. Heath McNease, 100% Dundee. What's up? This is an interview for Sphere of Hip Hop. I got a bunch of questions that they asked, and I'm gonna answer them now. Shout outs to Sphere of Hip Hop, by the way, Plastic, and everyone on the boards. First question, what would be the best question I could ask you in this interview? I would say what my cup size is, my chest size. It's a 44 double F, just a huge chest. I work out every 5 minutes. I take poultry hormones. That would be the best question you could ask. Since you didn't, I asked it for you. There it is, my cup size. Tell me about the concept behind your current project. Well, it's pretty easy. I wanted to do a mixtape for a long time, and didn't have an idea for what I wanted to do. There were a bunch of different things I thought would have been cool, and then for Beat's sake, hit me up with this idea that he had, where he was going to do a project called Straight Outta Console, with a bunch of just different artists from other places, and he asked me and Playdoh to do something for it, and I was like, man, I'm about to steal this dude's idea right now. So I was sitting back and I was like, hey man, why don't we just do it together? Because he had just done Ride or Die with Playdoh, and I like, for Beat's sake, he does great work, and the Nintendo thing is right up my alley because of the song Nintendo Thumb. So he was like, yeah man, let's do it. And so we decided that in March, and then it was done in June. It was ready to go. So I just piggybacked his work, and I wrote 20 songs in 6 weeks, so got all the homies on it. What has the response been to the new mixtape? Has it exceeded your wildest dreams, or simply been a wild dream? The response has been awesome so far. In the 3 weeks that it's been out, it's been at the top of the charts consistently in Bandcamp. Man, what's been cool is internationally, tons of people are hearing about it, which is great. Nintendo, different Nintendo affiliates have been really cool about it. That's great. Has it exceeded my wildest dreams? No. Because there's no flying car involved, so no. Has it simply been a wild dream? It feels a bit like a whirlwind from the time me and For Beat's Sake decided to do it till now. Like, it's just been just writing, then recording, then mixing, and having Davey Rocket do the cuts, and just the whole thing, and then dropping it on 4th of July. It's just been one thing after. It was pretty crazy. It still is, like, just catching up and doing all the promo for it. Since it's a mixtape, it's just a lot of in-house stuff, which is fine. I'm reading these questions from a different computer, by the way. Now, these are questions sent to sphereofhiphop.com to ask. Marshall and Jordan ask, how did you meet Playdoh? How long have you known him? Are you guys best friends in life? How did I meet Playdoh? Red Cloud took me on tour when I was in college. The first tour that I went on during summer break was at a bunch of Native American reservations where I was the only white guy there. He introduced me as Heath Custer every night. And I was a huge Philharmonics fan, and we did a show at Reunion Arena in Dallas, and they invited Playdoh to come to the hotel afterwards, and that's where I first met him. And he'd actually already heard of me when he was doing a tour in Australia, which was weird, but there was a guy named Mark One, shout outs to Mark One, who let him hear just some demo stuff that I did. So that's how I met him. How long have I known him? Since 2006, really. When I was in college in 2006, I think that's when we first really kind of met, because he came to my apartment and stuff when they were on the road. Are we best friends in life? We're life partners. We've recently moved to Vermont, but we're not best friends. I don't like the guy that much. The whole life partner thing was more just a tax incentive thing. We don't get along that well. Actually, what's cool about Playdoh is we do a lot of shows together, and I think we kind of speak the same language on the road. We like a lot of the same music, but even more important than that, I think we know when not to talk, when to just be on the road, and just let people have their time to not talk. So we're homies for sure. And being a fan of his first, it is kind of weird to say like that we're homies now, because I was just in high school and I was a fan of Philharmonics and stuff. But yeah, I would say we're definitely life partners. But I wouldn't say best friends because I don't like the guy that much. But he has been very instrumental in everything that I've done from the time I started. He's been the homie. And not all artists do that. Most artists look out for themselves, but he's been very understanding because he kind of is the one that got me involved with the record label that I signed to. Long answer, sorry. How does your creative process work? Do you have a routine? Do you work in a certain creative space? That's what Jason W. asks. My creative process. It used to be very rigid. When I was in college, I would just get a beat and I would write. I would get on the computer and just do this. As I've grown up and become a better writer and just a better manager of my time and my creativity, it definitely, there's no like one way to do it now. Since I do a lot of my own, writing. This is me mimicking a guitar. Where's my other hand at? This is me mimicking. That's a little different now. And even with beats, like I don't write so much anymore. Like I just kind of let it store up, but not Jay-Z style where I just store it up in my head and then go, I wish I could do that. But sometimes that happens. But I try to be moving and in motion when I'm writing now, so that I'm not sitting. And sometimes, when you're in an airplane or you're in an airport or in a hotel, sometimes you just do that. You write like that. But there's no process or routine at this point. Maybe if I wasn't always on the road, I would have some sort of routine, but I think when you've got to keep writing music to stay on the road and keep, providing new music for your fans, I don't think you're allowed to have a process. I think you kind of have to just do it the way that you can, piecemeal it together, necessity being the mother of invention, and invention being the grandfather of poverty, and poverty being the next door neighbor to me. So there's that. Now, Thomas H. asks, what are your top 5 Nintendo games of all time? I'm glad you asked, Thomas H. That's the best question. The rest of these questions suck. All these other people asking questions that no one cares about, those are stupid questions. This is the only question that my top 5, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past. Doesn't get any better than that. Super Mario Brothers 3. Absolutely. Tecmo Bowl, without a doubt. Then it gets kind of chippy. Like the original Contra, of course, is one of my all-time favorites. You pick any Mega Man, any like Castlevania, Metroid. I don't know, man. That's hard. That is hard on a brother to decide, just because there's so many. I don't know, dude. I could take it so many. I could take it so many different directions, man. Double Dribble. Maniac Mansion is one of my favorites. Kung Fu. Oh, full point. It's pretty good. I don't know. This is a better question. Kevin asks, what? Wait, I'm sorry. Wait, Jimmy asked, are you a better Nintendo player than everyone on your new album? I can't attest to that, but yes, I am. No, I haven't played any of them in it, but I would assume I probably am, or at least in the top. If there are like 10 dudes on the album, I'm probably in the top 9, for sure. Kevin asks, and this is a better question than Thomas's and Jimmy's and everyone else's. Everyone else has sucked. Kevin asks, what is the single worst Nintendo game of all time? I will answer that right now. Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. The worst, by far. Great soundtrack. The beat for the song Turtle Van Dam is actually a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde sample, but that's a horrible game. Like, it's just, you turn it on, you're like, this sucks. In your opinion, Jason M. asks, in your opinion, how come the Sega Dreamcast never really took off? I don't know, because I don't even know what that is. So I would say lack of marketing, because I've never heard of it. I've heard of it. I don't know. I remember playing it. I played like a football game on it, and I think it was this derivative. I don't know. A better question would be, why did the Sega Saturn not take off? Because I owned one, and I loved it. The lithium battery joint, and it was right at the same time. Probably just because it was right at the same time as PlayStation. And PlayStation just destroyed everything. They were fighting Sony at the time. Maybe that's the answer. A few more questions. It's a long interview. It's almost 10 minutes. You guys, no one's going to listen to any of this. Serious questions. Who would you least like to work with? Wow, I didn't even look at that question beforehand. Don't want to make anyone angry. Who would I least like to work? Nickleback. Nickleback? Probably. I don't have any problem with them personally, just musically. I look at this photograph and how it makes me laugh or whatever, and that's cool. So probably Nickleback. But if the money was good, I would most like to work with them. What's the thing you hate most about hip-hop? Man, I'll answer that question. The thing that I hate most about hip-hop is, I think, when people ask, what can we do like to make hip-hop better? Or what can we do to bring about more unity in hip-hop? And all the stupid questions about, like, Christian rap and secular rap. I hate all of that. I don't care, honestly. I like rap, and I love to rap, and I love to perform, and people that like it are always going to like it, and people that don't may always not like it. I mean, I'm sure there are deeper answers than that, but I just don't like those questions. I would say that's probably the thing that I dislike the most about hip-hop, is just questions about, like, unity and how to... Man, I don't know. I'm trying to do as best I can with what I have, and, you know, support the homies that I can, and that's all I can do. That's all I can do. I think if people had the funds and the time, then they would invest in doing whatever they could for hip-hop, but when you can't, you just do for you, and maybe that sounds selfish, but whatever, man. If somebody else wants to pay my bills, then let's talk more about how we can save hip-hop together. That sounds like such a jerk. Who writes dirtier raps? Too Short or Sev Statik? Man, hands down, Sev Statik. Playdoh and I talk about this a lot, man. Sev Statik is blessed with one of the natural, like, most naturally just gritty, dirty voices, man. I would sell all of my belongings, not all my belongings. I would sell those. Those were pretty awesome belongings. I would sell all my belongings and peddle my wares to have Sev Statik's voice, man. Just, Sev Statik, ton of rap, but it costs not the applause. Doing world tours in a poor man's plan because I'm called to deliver verbal ballistics. Stick to your own kind when it comes to the mind. That doesn't sound anything like Sev Statik, but that's my impersonation. His voice is amazing. Too Short, dirtier lyrically, for sure. But Sev Statik is one of my favorite voices of all time in rap, of all time. And so getting him on the album, it's pretty dope. Name the most awkward moment you've experienced as a hip-hop artist. Oh man, there are just too many. I remember doing a show when I was on tour with Red Cloud and Pigeon John. We were at Sunshine Festival in Wilmer, Minnesota, and I was opening up for them and stayed on stage to be their hype man when I was in college, and I was barefoot, and Pigeon John was like, man, Heath's feet are ridiculous right now. I'll give somebody $5 if they come on stage and kiss Heath's foot. And so this dude kind of breaks through and gets on stage. John takes out his wallet, gives the guy $5, and the guy puts my big toe in his mouth. He didn't kiss it or anything. He just put it right in his big toe in his mouth. It was so weird in front of a lot of people, too. And then I saw him the next day. He bought some merch, and he was like, I'm the guy that stuck your toe in my mouth. And I was like, no, I know. I would never forget that. I totally remember the guy that stuck his toe in my mouth. You'll never forget that one. That was one of the weirder ones. I could do a whole interview just on that one. Are there any subliminal messages in your music? I like for my messages to be mostly liminal or ultra liminal. I don't know. I don't have any subliminal messages in my music. If you play it backwards, there are a lot of jokes about your mom if you backmask it, but that's accidental. I didn't even know that, but it perfectly does mom jokes if you backmask my records. That was an accident, though. I didn't know about it later. And if you play it backwards while the Wizard of Oz is playing, it's It's just chaos. It doesn't sound like anything. It sounds like something's playing backwards during the Wizard of Oz. It's pretty freaking annoying. Shout outs. That's the last question. Shout outs? I guess they're asking, do I want to do shout outs? Oh man, let's get it in. For the mixtape, shout outs to For Beat's Sake, Davey Rocket on the 1s and 2s, Playdoh for being on it, but also for tracking the vocals and mixing it, Fred B, Sivion, in my hand, Awkwards from Grind Time for being really cool in his busy schedule to bust a rap, Kaz Meta, KJ52 for being the first one to get his verse in, man. He's probably busier than all of us combined, and he was the first one to get his verse done. That was really cool. He didn't have to do that because he's a cajillionaire. He didn't have to do that. Let's see, who else? Shout outs to Fab the Eclectic for doing the Nintendo Thumb beat. Who else was an MC on this record? I'm forgetting about. I know that I am. Red Cloud, of course, shout outs for his Chopsylvania. Man Child, ooh wee, man, that verse, please. I think that's everybody. Fred B, absolutely. Man, and Sev Statik for sure. Like, these are guys that I grew up with. I remember listening to these guys. I was first getting into like positive hip hop and stuff like that. I remember listening to these dudes and being a huge fan, and getting to have them all on my album, and then getting to have Awkwards. It was pretty awesome. So shout outs to Plastic and Sphere of Hip Hop. Shout outs to United Arab Emirates. Shout outs to Colquitt, Georgia, Valdosta State University, ATL, Sheboygan, Wisconsin, Oshkosh, Wisconsin, Oconomowoc, Wisconsin. Shout outs to Amarillo, Texas. I don't know why I'm shouting those places out. They just seem like, alright, that's the end of the interview. It's gone on way too long. Thanks for supporting. Pick up the mixtape if you haven't yet. Bandcamp, heathmcnease.bandcamp.com. It's free. You can pay for it if you want to. I think that's it. Thanks so much, guys. Surprise, surprise, all up in your eyes.